This is the Tennessee mail-in application for voter registration that your faculty member will be passing around in your class. You can use this form to register to vote in Tennessee or to change your name and or address if you were previously registered to vote in the state. First, let's make sure you can register to vote. You must be a U.S. citizen, and you must be a resident of Tennessee, and you must be at least 18 years old on or before the next election, and you must not have been convicted of a felony, or if you have, your voting rights must have been restored. If all of these statements are true, then you can use this form to register to vote. It's important to note that if you register using this form by mail, that you must vote in person the first time you vote after completing your registration. So in order to fill out this form, you need to use black or blue ink and not a felt tip pen. And we're going to answer all of the questions on this form. So first, let's take a look at this box up over here. This box asks if you would like to be sent additional information about being a poll worker on election day. This is a paid position. If you're interested, go ahead and check yes. If not, check no. I'm going to go ahead and check no. Now we're going to go to this portion below the dotted line. The first question you need to answer is, are you a citizen of the United States? If you are a citizen, you need to select yes, and if not, no. Importantly, if you are not a citizen, you will not be eligible to vote in Tennessee. So I'm going to head and check yes. The next question is, will you be 18 years of age or older on or before Election Day? If this is true, go ahead and check yes. If not, then no. But again, importantly, if you are not going to be 18 years or older on or before Election Day, you won't be eligible to vote. And that is noted here. If you answered no in response to either of the above questions, do not complete the rest of the form. This little gray box over here is for County Election Commission office use only, so we're not going to write anything in that box. The next thing we need to write is in the last name. And I'm going to use Smith as a generic last name here, and Jane as a generic first name here. Try and be sure that you write clearly your first and last name for the person who will be entering the information. And the name should match whatever is on your ID. Then I'm going to go ahead and write a generic middle name, Jane Doe Smith. And if you have anything that you would like as a suffix that's part of your legal name, such as junior, you should write that here. The next box is whether or not is your sex, male or female. I'm going to go ahead and select female. And then you can also put an optional race here. I'm going to go ahead and leave that box blank. Next, we need to put the address where you live. And it's important to note that you cannot give a P.O. box. You have to give a physical address. I'm going to go ahead and write down the Baker Center's address, which is 1640 Cumberland Avenue, rather than my own personal home address. There's no apartment number, but we'll pretend that there is. Knoxville here. It's in Knox County in Tennessee, 37996. The next part, number 6, is the address where you get your mail. And you only need to fill this out if it's different than the address where you live. Now, the important thing about the address here is you should register the address where you plan to vote. If you plan to vote here in Knox County, you should register your university address rather than your parent or home address. If you plan to vote where you consider to be your home or your parent's address, you should go ahead and register that address. However, you should know that because you have to vote in person the first time, if you register your parent or home address, you'll have to return there on election day in order to vote. The next thing you need to do is write down your date of birth. I'm going to go ahead and make up a date of birth here, January 1st, 2000, as well as the city and state of birth. And we're going to pretend that this person was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. And then a social security number. And again, I'm just going to go ahead and write a fake social security number there. Obviously, you need to make sure that this number is accurate. You can write your phone number here. I'm going to give the Baker Center number, but you should use your own phone number here. And above, you can optionally put your email address in. I'm not going to do that. If you were previously registered to vote, you can put your name and address of your previous voter registration, and the Election Commission will update your information using what you've now provided to them. If you don't know or were not previously registered to vote, then you can just go ahead and leave this blank. This also includes if you were registered to vote in a different state or at a different address. The next box is here at 11, the voter declaration, which says, I, being duly sworn on oath or affirmation, declare that the above address is my legal residence and that I plan to remain at such residence for an undetermined period of time, and say that to the best of my knowledge and belief, all of these statements by me are true. And then you need to confirm, are you a resident of the state of Tennessee? And if that's true, yes. And you also need to say, have you ever been convicted of a crime which is a felony in this state by a court in this state, a court in another state, or a federal court? And here I'm going to select no. If you select yes and your voting rights have not been reinstated, you won't be eligible to vote. So that's an important thing to note. The other thing that's important to note is that if you do not wish to register to vote in Tennessee, you're not going to be able to use this form, and you'll need to get a form from the state in which you intend to register. Here, this is the final step, box 12, and let's read the warning. It says, giving false information to register to vote or attempting to register when not qualified is a felony punishable by not less than 2 years nor more than 12 years imprisonment or a fine of $5,000 or both. So just be sure that the information that you're provided on this form is true and accurate. So I'm going to go ahead and sign Jane Smith and put the date. If someone is assisting you, or if you are unable to sign, please provide the signature of the person who signed for the applicant as well as their address. Okay, now we've filled out all of the information. I'm just going to go ahead and double check. I've checked the no box here up in the corner. I've made sure to include my last name, first name, middle name, my sex, my complete address, as well as my date of birth, the city and state of my birth, my social security number, my phone number. I've read the voter declaration. I've confirmed that I'm a resident of the state of Tennessee and that I have not been convicted of a crime. And then I went ahead and signed and dated. All those steps are required in order for your registration to be complete. Once your registration is complete, you can go ahead and remove the adhesive if you would like before turning your form in. You can also leave it open if you want someone to check your registration documentation before it's submitted. And then you're just going to go ahead and fold it over. You can then return this closed form to your instructor, who will put it in an envelope, and the Baker Center will hand deliver to the Election Commission. Once you've registered to vote, in a few weeks you should receive a voter registration card in the mail at the address you listed. This is what that will look like. It will be attached to a larger piece of paper, and you'll need to detach it along the dotted line. Here will be your address and your name that you had listed, and then your voter signature. Over here, it indicates the County Election Commission, the date that you were registered, your own date of birth, your precinct number, which here is 10N, your voting location, which is Fort Sanders School, your city district, your county district, school district, state house, state senate, and U.S. Congress district numbers. So that's really important information to make sure that you go to the right location to vote on Election Day. On the back of your voter card is an opportunity, if you change your address inside of that county, which this is for Knox County, you need to fill out your new address, your mailing address, your signature, phone, and date. There's also some information here about how purging registration works in the state of Tennessee, as well as some information for illiterate, physically disabled, or visually impaired voters. So once you have this card, you should take it and put it in your wallet, and then as Election Day approaches, make sure that you know the exact location where you need to go to vote. With you, you will need to bring a voter, an identification, and you should also bring, if possible, your voter registration card. So that's the complete process. I hope that you found it informative, and I hope to encourage you all to vote.